When people talk about reality shifting or shifting into a different state, it's as simple as saying, I'm in this state now. That's all it is. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I just want to kind of go over some of the comments that I received in the previous video and just videos before that, because I find a lot of people are commenting on the videos and they are sort of overcomplicating concepts that don't need to be complicated. And I understand though, because this is something I did too. I still didn't get it. I was like, no, but there's got to be more than this. Like you're saying, so some of the comments I got were like, you're saying just to select it and then just to go about my day and that's it. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. So when it comes to manifesting, I feel like we've been taught too that repetition is really key, that we have to repeat things over and over and over, which honestly is important. There is a reason that we repeat things again and again, because we are continuously selecting the state we want to be in when we're repeating things over and over. It's not so much that we are repeating things just to, I know people say like, so it seeps down into your subconscious, so you really believe it, but it's also you're saying these things over and over so that you're selecting the state. That's all we're doing. We're always just choosing what state we want to be in at any minute, and we can change instantly. Like when people talk about reality shifting or shifting into a different state, it's as simple as saying, I'm in this state now. That's all it is. Like I am this thing. I am successful. Now you are in the state of success. And if you continue on in that state, as in you don't think thoughts that are going to counteract this, then you will remain in that state. But oftentimes we do think thoughts that counteract this. So this is where affirmations come in, because you are just selecting that state again and again and again. And I've already talked about in my other videos how to select the state, how to manifest as fast as possible by staying in the present moment. And being in the present moment is so, so key, because it just keeps you in that state without having to try. Because when you're not in your mind constantly thinking, you're not going to be counteracting the state that you're in. You're just going to remain in it. So anytime you're in the present moment, it's so powerful, and it's where you're meant to be. Like you're really meant to be in the present moment. You're not meant to be in your head. Your head is a tool. Think of your head like the GPS. You're choosing something in the GPS. You're putting it in, and then you are driving in your body. You were going back in your body and you were driving. And you're not always going to be at your destination right away, instantly. Sometimes you got to drive a ways to get there. Sometimes you got to drive a distance to get there and you won't see it right away. Sometimes your GPS takes you down these like random roads and you're like, okay, this wasn't really what I was expecting, but all right. You just kind of have to trust it and go with that. But sometimes what happens when we get in our head is that we suddenly input a new destination in our GPS. When we start thinking negatively, we may put in a destination to kind of go off path a bit. We're taking some sort of detour, but this can always be corrected at any time by simply just going back and putting the correct destination in again. So that's all you're doing. Every time you go in your mind and you're saying, I am this, you are in that state instantly. Like, I don't know how else to get this across, but like, you don't have to do anything else to be in a state. As soon as you affirm for it or you visualize it once, you are in that state, because you are everything. Imagination is everything. So you're only selecting from all the things you already have. You have everything in imagination. You already have everything. And this reality that you're living in is just made up of the selections that you have chosen to experience. But all the stuff that is unmanifested is still just as real and just as much yours as everything that's manifested in front of you. And the only way that you can bring it into the manifested is by just persisting, aka selecting that one choice that you want again and again. Because as humans, our minds are sort of wired to overthink things. Our minds are wired to try to figure things out and understand things, but this is where it's better to just go with the flow and not try and understand, because everything is already created. And to the human mind, that doesn't really make sense, because we're so used to like cause and effect. You work really hard, you get this, or you do this, you get this. But with imagination, when you're selecting something, you're just selecting it and all of a sudden it's yours. Like, that doesn't seem to make sense to us. We're like, well, how does that make sense? So I say I'm rich and now I'm rich. Well, then why am I not rich, right? Like, we always get those comments. But the thing is, you just set that in your GPS. You put that in. And so now you are on the timeline of getting rich, because it will unfold in this reality, because this reality is meant to just be the experience. If you can trust that as soon as you've selected it, you're in that state, you will end up being rich. Like, you will start to see, you will start to notice things, you will see other people that are rich. You will start hearing more about money, you will start seeing, shows about millionaires, like random stuff will start popping up in your reality that seems related to where you want to go. And some people like to call this, like I know Sammy Ingram, she calls it birds before land. I call it synchronicities. You'll just start noticing a lot more people maybe having what you want, or you'll notice things about it. And that can tell you that you're in the right state. Use that to remind yourself you're in the right state. Okay? And over time, if you keep choosing the state of, for example, like we're using I am rich, if you keep saying that to yourself, I am rich, anytime that you have a negative thought, you just say in your mind, I am rich. Or just what I like to do too is just sometimes throughout the day, I will just say to myself, like I will say it as a reminder to myself. I'll be like, I am rich, I have lots of money, or whatever, like just throughout the day randomly. Don't force it, just kind of like have it as a thought in your mind, as a reminder to yourself. And the best way to do this too is to affirm in a way that you're not affirming only at the times when you're not seeing what you want in your physical world. Like, you're not just affirming to see something in your physical world, you're affirming because you're reminding yourself of who you are. That's what I do throughout the day. I remind myself of who I am. I don't just affirm because I'm not seeing something in the physical. I affirm because I'm reminding myself of who I am. Because really, your state that you've chosen is who you are. It's who you are now becoming in this reality. But you already are it. It's just, it has to unfold in physical form in front of you. So anytime that you start questioning if you are in the same state anymore, you start worrying, if I'm doing everything right, all you have to do is affirm once and you're in that state again. So you can affirm also, I want to make this really clear, you can affirm as many times as feels good for you. You can affirm as many times, because affirming is just a reminder of who you are. So again, you can affirm as much as you want. It is not bad to affirm, because all you're doing is selecting your state again. It's not going to hurt anything if you're affirming. The only time affirming becomes negative is when you are doing it in a fearful way. You are doing it because you feel you have to get this thing. You are not affirming to get something. I say this in all my videos. I think I said it in my first video. You are not affirming to get anything. You are affirming as a reminder to yourself that you have this thing already. So don't feel the need to affirm more and more and more because it'll get this thing faster. That's not how it works. The more you affirm, it does not mean you're going to get something faster. It means that maybe you're selecting that state more often. So yes, you could remain in that state more easily over time, but you could just as easily remain in that state by selecting it once and then just living your present moment, because you're never going to leave the state you're in if you're in the present moment. You will remain in that state so easily. And when do your desires always come in? They always come in when you're living in the present moment. That means you're not in your head, you're not thinking, you're usually doing something else, you're distracted by something. That's often when you'll see your desire come in, because everything happens in the present moment. So if you're constantly in your mind affirming, then you don't really give time for your desire to come in, because it has to come in the present moment. And if you're in your head, usually you're not always in the present moment. You could be, you're kind of elsewhere a little bit. So that's why I say get back into your body once you've affirmed. And it's not as hard as it seems. Like, I know when I say that, people are like, well, how do I stay in the present moment? We're always going to have thoughts, and that's okay. It's okay to have thoughts, right? Like I said, it's just about living your life, really. When I say be in the present moment, it's just about living your life. And we do this all the time. Like, we can live our lives. Like, think about something you've manifested that happened so easily for you that was just like a random thought. Did you try to live in the present moment all the time? Like, did you try to make that happen for you? No. What happened was you just lived your life. Like, you got distracted by life. And that's what I mean by living in the present moment. You don't have to just forget all your thoughts altogether and try. It's more just like you just trust that what you said, what you reminded yourself of, that one affirmation was enough. And now when you go about your day doing everything else, You don't need to stress. You don't need to worry about affirming again unless you feel the need to. If it comes up, if you have a negative thought or something, sure, like affirm again for it. But keep it very just casual, kind of. Don't make a big deal of your desire. It's just meant to be that you select it whenever you feel maybe you've fallen out of the state. Maybe you had a thought that was, the opposite of what you want to affirm, then that's when maybe you'd want to affirm again. But if you're thinking about other things, if you're thinking about something unrelated to your desire, which I know someone had a comment sort of about this. I apologize if I get this wrong, but she said something about when my kids are stressing me out, I should just affirm that I'm rich or something. And well, the thing is, in that moment, if you were thinking about being poor, then yes, I would affirm I'm rich in that moment, just to remind yourself. But if in that moment you were thinking about, oh, my kids are stressing me out, then maybe you'd want to affirm something like, my kids are calm, or my kids are listening to me, and then go back to whatever you're doing in your reality. You only use affirmations kind of when you need them, if that makes sense. I go throughout my day and I affirm anything that I feel I want to. If something's going on in my day that I want to work out for me, I'll be I'll get that parking spot when I go to the grocery store soon, or this will work out for me later today, or this will happen today. I'll just affirm kind of as I need it, because that's really how we're meant to live. We're meant to live presently, just live our life, and then just affirm and fulfill the desire as it comes up. That's really the absolute best way to live your life, is to live in the present moment. Again, what I'm saying by this is just live your life as a person, enjoy your life, and then as desires come up within you, then you fulfill them. So only when the desire comes up within you is when you need to fulfill it. And it's fulfilled instantly, because like I said, everything is done already. You're just affirming it. You're just reminding yourself that, oh yeah, don't worry about it. That desire is already fulfilled. Don't worry. And you just do it as the desires come up throughout the day. So if you're not thinking about a particular desire and you've already fulfilled it, then you don't need to fulfill it constantly. If your kids are stressing you out and in that moment you're thinking, oh yeah, I should be affirming about being rich, your mind shouldn't be there. Your mind should be on, that moment with your kids and what they're doing, and maybe affirming something for that situation. Unless in that moment you are in your head thinking about being poor. If that's the case, if you're stressing about your kids because you're feeling like you can't pay bills or something in that moment, then at that point is when maybe you'd want to say, I am rich, right? You're only affirming when you need it. That's what affirmations are for. You're just affirming to remind yourself, oh yeah, it's done. Okay. And then you just keep living your life. And you don't have to affirm for no reason. If you're just going about your day and everything's going well and you're in a good mood, then you don't really need to affirm. If you're already feeling good and you're feeling everything's working well, don't affirm. You don't have to. You only affirm if you feel that you need to. That's pretty much it. And this works so well. I can attest to this. I do this throughout my own days. I have now gotten down to much less affirmations in a day, and it's not because I am counting or I'm trying to have a certain number. I just feel so natural now. It just feels so natural. I can just, whenever a desire comes up, I'm just remind myself that it's already fulfilled, and that's it. That's all you have to do. When a desire comes up, just fulfill it and move on with your day, and don't overthink. I don't want my videos to cause you to overthink, okay? With thoughts and everything, you can still think thoughts. You can still have a brain, right? Yes, we want to try and focus on positive thoughts. That's the key. And I always recommend The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle if you want to get better at that, of observing your thoughts. We could go much farther into this. I will probably in future videos go more into the concept of non-duality and the ego versus the mind, and all those sorts of things. But as of right now, if you just want an easy way to manifest, really, it's just about living your life and fulfilling the desires as they come and not stressing about it, because shifting into a state is so easy. You just select it. That's all it is. I don't know how else to explain this that makes it any more simple. I'm hoping this video is clearing things up and not causing any more confusion at all with anyone. But it's really that easy. And I always tell people to go back to how you were as like a kid. Just look at the world like a little kid. You just chose what you want to be. Like, I want to be a princess today. Then be a princess today. It doesn't matter what makes sense, what doesn't. It doesn't matter if, you know, you say I'm a millionaire and you're living in the worst apartment right now and everything's terrible. As long as you have said that thing, you are in that state already. It's become your state. The only reason that you don't believe you're in that state is because it might not manifest immediately, because it has to unfold in this world. Because the physical world is meant for us to experience our desires. That is the point of it. So you've set your GPS to go to where you want to go. And now you just have to drive there. Just go through the process of getting there. And if ever you feel like you're off track or something, remind yourself, oh yeah, I already put it in the GPS. It's fine. Like, I'm already on my way. It's good. And like I said, you'll start seeing more synchronicities, more things that align with where you want to go, the more that you can remain in that state. And the ways to remain in a state, once again, sorry, this video is going to be very repetitive, is to, well, one, repeat your affirmation whenever you feel that you need to. Say your affirmation. And essentially, I also like to refer to it as an intention rather than an affirmation. It's an intention of where you're going. You just repeat your intention or your affirmation, or you just live in the present moment. That's why either way works. That's why you can manifest things without trying, with trying, is as long as you know that it's a reminder and you are not saying it out of a fear to try and force something in the physical world to change, then you will be good. All right. And if ever you're saying affirmations out of fear, like, just stop saying them. If you're saying them in a way that's giving you anxiety or something, then stop saying them for a while. Go back, live your life, because it's not doing you any favors by doing that. Rather, just affirm when it feels right. And again, just let it be a very calm thing when you're affirming. Just very natural, very just chill, not forced, just whenever you feel like you need it. And I know I said don't affirm out of fear, but like, if you have a negative thought, you can affirm for that. You can affirm, but just once again, think of the affirmation as a reminder rather than affirming because you're fearful that you won't get something in the 3D world. Like, if you're fearful about not getting your desire, you can affirm for it, but just know when you've affirmed, you're reminding yourself you have it. So, oh my God, there's no reason to fear because, wow, I already have it. That's how you should feel, rather than, I'm going to say this affirmation because I'm worried I'm not going to get it. And if I say this affirmation more, then maybe I'll get it. Like, it shouldn't be that kind of thought process, if that makes sense. So yes, you can still affirm if you're in doubt or fear, but just reframe your mind to know what affirmations really are. And that's why I put so much emphasis on the foundational elements of manifestation, because if you know that you are everything, that imagination is everything, and that the manifested is just as real as all the stuff you see in imagination, then it makes life so much easier, because you just understand that there's no way for you to not get what you want because you already have it. It is already yours, because everything around you is for you. This whole reality you're living in is yours. It's just the manifested and unmanifested. Imagination, I wish that we didn't even have to call it imagination, because it's literally the same thing as this reality. I think of it like a storage locker or something. It's like you're going in to go get something out of the storage locker, but it's already yours. You have it. It's just like you haven't taken it out of the storage locker yet, you know? But it's always there. It's always yours. It's never not been yours. So when you stress about how you're going to get something or how it's going to happen, don't worry about that part of it, because you already have it, and the universe will unfold the experience for you in a way that feels natural. You don't have to worry about the how, and I really, really recommend you not try to figure out how it's going to happen. And that also means letting go of, if you have a certain way that you expect it to happen, like say if you have a business and you are wanting to make $1 million and you think like, oh, I'm going to make it only in this one way, kind of try and let go of that, because the more you can let go and be open to possibility, then the more ways it can come in for you. Because the universe has a bazillion ways to bring in your desire, not just one way. And that's why we say every action you take is perfect, because it will figure out a way based on your actions to bring in that desire. Like, there's no specific thing you have to do to get it. It will just make it work for you. It's like it will align you with the right situations, the right things, even when they don't make sense, even when circumstances don't make sense. Like, you'll meet a random person somewhere, you'll travel somewhere, or do this or do that seems unrelated, but it will all make sense because the universe will curate it too. So yeah, all I have to say is don't stress. There's no way to mess up because you have it. There's a little short story that I read in someone's book, I can't remember whose, but it's a really, really good representation of this concept of trying to get something that's already yours. And the story was about, there's this man that is drunk and he's looking under a street lamp trying to find his car keys, apparently. And then a policeman comes up and he asks, what are you looking for? And he says, oh, my car keys, I lost them. And so they're both looking under the street lamp for these car keys. And then the policeman's like, well, wait, where did you lose the car keys? And the man says, oh, well, I lost them in my house. It's dark in there, but so I just came out here to look. And the policeman, obviously it doesn't make any sense. He's like, why wouldn't you look in the house? And he's like, well, I was looking out here because this is where the light is. And essentially the point of the story in regards to manifestation or something is that we're always looking in the outer world to find something, because that's where the light is. That's where we can see things. That's where everything makes sense to us. We look out here for something. But really, everything we're looking for is in the house, in the dark house, which is us. It's within us. That's where we find what we're looking for. So instead of spending all your time looking for it out here, start looking for it internally. And that's what comes back to affirmations or visualization, realizing that it's always been yours all along. It's always been in the house all along, the thing you've been looking for this whole time. So I just thought I'd share that at the end of this video, but I hope this makes sense to you guys. This was another sort of rambly video. I just wanted to get some points across, hopefully help someone out who is overcomplicating this process a bit. It is not meant to be complicated. It's very simple. Select and live it. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. That is my recommendation. That is how you should live your life. Fulfill the desires as they come up, and then go about your life. Live your life. That's pretty much the whole process of manifestation. And understanding the base concepts is really important to sort of believing in it and getting that ingrained in you. So if anything, try to understand the main concept of manifestation, that you are everything exists within you. Imagination creates reality. Imagination is the same thing as reality. It's just manifested, unmanifested. And once you understand that and you really can grasp it, and the more you practice this, it will get easier. I promise. It will get much easier. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see everyone in the next video. As always, if you want to purchase coaching, the option for that is below in the description box. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much to everyone who has purchased coaching, and I will see you all in the next one. All right, bye.